Laurie Huston's News for the Heart is dedicated to helping you give a voice to your own soul. Our hearts have the power to free us from pain and the struggles that keep us from awakening to our true essence. Join Laurie now as we delve into our heart and soul to find the path that will open us to the possibilities and lead us to the life we love to live.
And good afternoon. This is News for the Heart. And today I have my co-host Tom Campbell with me. Sorry. This has been one interesting afternoon already. So welcome to the show, Tom. Your book came out, Tom's Park. I know that it's in ebook form. Let's talk about that for a short little bit.
Okay. Well, it is. It's not yet in paperback and not yet in audio, although I think the audio will be coming very soon, and hopefully the paperback will be in a week, maybe a week and a half, where that's going to be the slower one. But it's out, and there's been, I don't know, a couple of hundred people who have sent in some comments on it, and so far it seems to be very well liked, and people are getting a lot out of it. It's as books go, it's very expensive. It's $79, which is a lot for a book. On the other hand, as training courses go, it's very, very inexpensive because they run from a minimum of $350 up to $2,500. So it's a lot more like a training course than it is like a book. It's not a story that you read and then put the book back on the shelf. It's a thing that you do. It's a process that you work through, and working for, say, an hour a day on this process for the next 5 years, would probably pay off, really, really well. But it takes some time, but it is a process and something to work on. So the price is high, but then it's not really just a book that's being bought. It's really a training program where you learn how to train yourself to do what it is that you need to do. And it's so much better if you train yourself than if somebody else just gives you directions and you follow them. Nobody ever grows up by following directions. You have to grow up and change yourself by doing, by experiencing, by learning. And that's what this Tom's Park does. It gives you an opportunity to do and experience and learn, rather than just listen to somebody else tell you how you should do it and what you should do, and then you get frustrated because it doesn't seem to work the way they're telling it. There's all kinds of issues. So this is really a go at your own pace kind of a course on developing your intuitive side, being able to experience and master all the paranormal things, the remote viewing and the healing and the seeing of auras and on, getting data out of databases. So it enables you to practice those things, healing, self-healing, communications, connections, just interacting with people. Relationships gives you an opportunity to experience relationships, and it's in a very protected environment. So it's not one where if you make a mistake, you're going to get slammed. If you make a mistake, you just realize it's a mistake and you fix it. There's no big penalties for not doing it right, which is very liberating for a lot of people, where they can just try out things and see how they work. So yes, it's out, and hopefully it will be very useful to a lot of people. That's the point of putting it out, to give people the help they need to grow themselves when the environment that they're in is not exactly great environment for growing. The environment that we're in is one that causes us fear of making mistake, fear of doing it wrong, fear of not getting it right. Well, in this environment, there's absolutely nothing to fear. It's an entirely benign, supportive environment. So that takes the pressure off and lets you then just be able to be who you are. At least that's the idea. So
yeah,
it is out after many months of struggling and trying to get it just right.
Yeah, that's great. And Yes. So do you think it will go to, is it going to just stay on Amazon.com, or do you think you're going to go into some of the other ones?
Yes, as soon as we can, we're going to spread from Amazon.com to other platforms other than that. And we're going to have one in Canada. I think, what's it, Kobe?
Okay. Well, I mean, Amazon.ca is fine for us. It's not listed there yet.
So okay.
The U.S.
Well, it should be listed in Canada.
I looked for it, but it didn't come up. So I can check again and see.
Yeah, it should be listed in Canada. We had somebody from Canada who called us up and said, but I can't see it in Canada. So Pamela called Amazon and said, why can't Canada see it? And they said, give it some time. It hasn't just been time enough. But that was a week ago. So you should have be able to see it now. And there's
Amazon.com, that wasn't a problem. I just was hoping it would go into Canadian dollars so I didn't have to pay US dollars. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, there should be one doing that soon. Okay. And we're going to try to put it in ebooks that are more, some in Europe, Germany and Australia and New Zealand and other places. But that just takes a little more time. Right now, most of our effort is in trying to get the audio and the paperback out. So once we get those out, then we'll start expanding, the platforms that we're using.
Great.
At least that's the plan.
Yay. So I thought we would do a holiday special today, just talking about maybe just some real tips for people, make it nice and light and just, things for people so that they can enjoy their holiday season. I know you've just come out of your Thanksgiving. I know some birthdays coming up maybe next week.
Yeah, I have a birthday about then, yes. On the 9th.
So. But yeah, just some tips for the holiday season, just so people, one of the beautiful things about the energy of this time is that obviously it's about other instead of just about me. So that's always the plus thing about connecting in with the generous spirit of Christmas holidays and, just that fun. We all have that vibrant, maybe it's an expectation, but we all have that kind of excitement of the holiday season. And then people kind of get bogged down because they, it's all about spending and gifts. And it's just, let's take away from that and just come to what can we do, the tips to make this, we've got just so much going on where there's division and fear and hatred and all sorts of stuff happening. And it would be nice to kind of get out of that energy 100%, and just, be in a loving, open, generous, kind place.
That sounds wonderful. Yes, that's very good advice. Yeah, I would try to summarize that maybe a little differently, and that is stay positive. Always stay positive. Even when we try to make it about other, if we are self-focused and, concerned about us, then we see other in terms of ourselves. Other becomes that other person I'm obligated to buy a present for, and that other person where I have to go to, to this party, or I should go to that one for, and other becomes then all referential to us. So it's right back to you again, even though the season tends to push us together socially, we can still make it about us. So I would say just try to be positive. If something comes up and you want to roll your eyes and say something negative, about, old Uncle Joe, who is going to be really obnoxious at the Christmas party this year because, he's a vaxxer or an anti-vaxxer, or, he's left or right or in the middle or whatever. And that's going to be annoying to you. Let that go. Yeah. I think the way to approach this is just the idea that everybody out there is on their own path, growing in their own way, and everybody has to do it on their own. Wherever their path takes them, that's where they are, and that's where they have to work from. And they have to grow up on their own. In other words, they've got to see it. You can't explain it to them. That won't help. They have to get it and change themselves, and they only are going to do that when they are ready. If they're not ready, all the lectures, all the books, all the discussions aren't going to help at all if they're not ready. So how do you know when somebody's ready? You don't. They're just, when they're ready, they grow, they change, they see things, they have aha moments. Suddenly they become more mellow and not so pushy. It's just, everybody grows up in their own time. So if you have this idea that everyone is on their own path, they are where they are, struggling with their struggles, just because that's where they are. That's where their choices have led them. And those choices will give them the kind of the benefits and the pain, depending, on the choice. So everybody, has the carrot and the stick. And if you make poor choices, then you have a lot of negative stuff comes your way because you're dealing in negative stuff. That's what a poor choice means. You're dealing in the negative. So when you make poor choices, then you're going to find negative stuff. And that's true of you and true of everybody else. So if you see those other people out there and they're doing it wrong, they have the wrong ideas, well, just give them some space to do it wrong. It's the path they're on, and let them on it. Don't see it as they're wrong, they're awful, they need to change. Just see it as they're who they are, growing in their own way, suffering their own pain from their own bad decisions. And that pain is what's going to help them grow up. So even taking that pain away from them wouldn't necessarily be a good thing. They need to experience the consequences of their choices, and they have to be ready to change. So just be positive. Let people be. If old Uncle Joe is going to be saying things very contrary to your beliefs, let him go. That's where he is. Wish him well on his journey, because he's struggling with the results of his own bad choices, just as you're struggling with the results of your bad choices. And he's getting rewarded with his good choices, just are you. So let it all work out however it does. And don't feel negative about anything or anybody or any situation. And you'll find out that if you don't walk into something already feeling negative, it's a lot easier to find things that are positive. If Joe wants to talk politics and you really don't want to talk politics with him, then change the subject or go someplace else. Stay positive. So that would be my advice for the holidays, is just stay positive. Let the world be the way the world is. It is not your job to fix the world or anybody else. You just be who you are and be on the outlook for your lessons and for your pain. And if you're experiencing pain of some sort, well, that goes right back to you. If you understand where that pain's coming from, it's coming from your fear, your issues. That's where it's coming from. So don't project those onto somebody else or blame other people for them. Just figure that you're on your own path and you're exactly where you need to be right now for learning the things you need to learn, just like Uncle Joe is. So be kind to yourself as well. Say, I am where I am because here's where I am, and there's no place else that I can be right now other than who and what I am. And if that's painful or that hurts or that has problems or that makes me, unhappy, well, how can you change that? Just change yourself. Don't blame that pain on somebody else. Well, I'd be happy if it wasn't for my Uncle Joe, or I'd be happy if it wasn't for this, or if people stopped acting so stupid, I wouldn't be so unhappy. Don't make your happiness based on what other people do. It's not. It's based on what you do and what you think and how you feel. So if you can just feel positive, and as soon as that negativity comes, you feel like complaining or grousing or rolling your eyes, or you have some kind of negative thing, just say, oops, not helpful. Let it go. Change the subject. Go someplace else. Stay positive. So make Christmas a positive time, a time when you have the strength and the will to let other people be who they are and not feel, not feel like, you judge them and that you're judging of them. They come up wanting in your judgment and this upsets you. Well, just stop judging them and then they won't come up wanting. They will just be who they are and be nice to them. They can't help it. They're here because this is where all their choices have led them. And the pain and trouble they're creating is the feedback they need to change. But no, you can't point out that. You just have to let them go until they figure it out on their own. So in that way, we ought to be able to be happy, even amongst a lot of ugly people who are being unpleasant. Just let them be. Don't let any of their negativity rub off on you and become your negativity, you see. Yes, they might be just delighted to drag you down into some kind of a negative argument, but just don't go there. Just don't go there. You can always smile and change the subject or walk away. You don't have to say anything negative. I don't want to talk about that. That's a negative thing. And it starts with a capital I. It's about you. Instead, just change the subject, or if you really don't want to talk about that, leave. Make an excuse. I got to go someplace else. Got to do something else. Stay positive. Don't let the world drag you down or any of the people that you run into. Just stay positive.
I think a brilliant idea would be to write a list of all the topics that you cannot talk about. Or maybe write a list of the topics you can talk about.
Much shorter list. Huh?
Yeah. Post it on the door and say, okay, these are acceptable topics. Do not bring in politics. Do not bring in COVID. Do not bring in vaxxers or anti-vaxxers. Just let's talk about these things.
Exactly. And if people want to do that, well, then just leave. Don't join it. Don't become part of it. And if everybody's like that around you, then go read a book, do something else, go someplace else, go home. Just don't be negative and don't let other people suck you into their negativity.
You could make a game out of it, though. You could make a game and say, okay, this is what we're going to do today, and make a game and have, very positive things that you can, like, people, pick out a card or something and, there'll be something that would be fun. I mean, just to get people, because I think sometimes people can't help themselves when they're in with family or with friends, that they have an agenda that they just feel so passionate about. And it's hard to kind of get them to switch. So, I don't know, maybe give them a game where this is who you're going to be. This is who you're going to be for this Christmas. You're going to talk about this. Give everybody something to talk about. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah, there's all sorts of ways that you could play with it. You could, you could say, all right, everybody, listen, we're going to try to be positive. And anybody who says anything negative, they're going to have to put $1 in the jar.
There you go.
And just see where that goes. And at the end, you can, take all the money in the jar and go buy a case of beer or something, right? Do something fun with it.
Yeah.
Or let the host have it.
Yeah.
Let the host have it. So in any case, you can make these things fun. But, when you start doing this, it's hard in the beginning because you keep getting sucked in to negative things because of your own passions about things having to be, this is the right way. It's your own judgments. But with a little practice, it gets easier and easier to be around people who are angry and not get angry and not let them pull you into their misery, into their excitement, into their, problem. Just stay on top. Just float on the top of that and be smiley and say things that are positive.
Yeah.
Use humor.
Yeah.
Wherever you can, use humor. And just don't take yourself or anybody else all that seriously. interact with people where it's fun. You know, talk about their lives and what they're doing and who they are and what their challenges are and the things that make them happy. You know, that'd be a good subject. What makes you happy? You know, talk about the things that make people happy. And sure, you'll have some people that say, what makes me happy is that if everybody agreed with me, and they're still going to be negative, but that's all right. You can let that go.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. Be positive, be caring. Don't be part of the problem. I guess that's another way to say the same thing. Don't become part of the problem.
Right.
Always stay part of the solution. And if you get angry, you're part of the problem. If you're negative, you're part of the problem. And I run into people sometimes who say, well, if you're not angry, then you just don't understand. If you're not angry, then you just don't care. Anybody with a soul and a heart would be angry. No, anger is the problem. Mm-hmm. Yes, you can care. And yes, you can care deeply. But anger is never helpful. Anger just makes everything worse. It never solves problems. It just creates more problems. So you need to be able to care and care deeply, but still be positive. You know, being positive doesn't mean that you just float like a silly little, empty-headed nothing. You can have a lot of strong feelings and opinions and things, but just stay positive with them. That's the thing.
Yeah. I mean, family can trigger us the most because it's the one area that we grew up with that were our triggers. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting, you just have to be more conscious of it. You just have to be really aware of where you are and what you're saying and how you're feeling all the time. If you could do that, it would be easy.
Yeah. One of the things to realize is that you're not going to fix anybody. Right. When you hear Uncle Joe or Uncle Fred say something, and this is so wrong that you just need to say something and correct it, you're not going to correct it. You're not going to fix it. You're not going to change their mind. All you're going to do is throw a little gasoline onto what's already burning. And that's not helpful. So just keep your mouth shut. Just don't have to jump in there and fix it for people. Your job is not to fix other people and explain to them how they should see the world. Your job is to, give them a safe space so that they can feel safe enough to change themselves and grow up. So let them rant and rave or whatever. Don't feel like you need to fix them and set the record straight. And, you're not the master of the universe, or the teacher of all people who disagree with you. You just need to let people be who they are, even if that is annoying or wrong or whatever it is. Just let them be that way until they grow up on their own.
Yeah.
So, we tend to want to fix people.
We really do.
Yeah.
We get into relationships we want to fix. We want to fix our friends. We want to fix everybody, right?
Yes.
Except ourselves, of course.
Yes, exactly. But see, that's that old self-centered ego saying, I know what you should be like or what you should think or how you should feel because the things that I know and the things that I believe are the right things. But everybody feels that way. Everybody feels that way. And it's not helpful then to just have everybody arguing with each other all the time because then not only does nobody change, but everybody's miserable.
Yeah.
So much better if we could just kind of have fun with each other, realize we all have different attitudes and opinions, but still have fun just the same. Connect and don't become part of the problem. Yeah. So I guess that's the challenge for the holidays. Don't become part of the problem. Stay positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not that hard to do with a little practice.
Yeah. It's just being aware. You just have to be constantly. See, this is the thing. If we could always be aware of how we're feeling, are we happy? Are we, state of bliss or love or peace? But the thing is, we get caught up on everyday happenings and we lose that connection or that consciousness or that awareness that it's so easy. It's so easy to just take a breath and go, okay, where am I? But we forget to take that breath. It's
Yeah.
like, how do we remind ourselves to just be instead of,
Yeah. Well, we have this wrong idea of, well, if I know the truth and this other person doesn't, aren't I helping them out by fixing them, by telling them the truth and what they should say? So we kind of think it's the right thing to do. Poor Uncle Joe, he's just so off the wall with, wrong ideas that I just need to help him see it better. I'm trying to be helpful. It's all about Uncle Joe, not about me. Well, stop being so helpful in that way. It's not about Uncle Joe. It really is about you, your belief that you are right. I am right.
Yeah.
No, individuals don't have beliefs. They only have facts, because all the things they believe are facts in their own mind. And it's true of Uncle Joe, too. Everything he believes is a fact in his mind. And you just have to let people be the way they are and stop trying to teach them. Stop trying to be the one in charge that can, help other people see the light. People will see the light when they're ready, and they're not going to see it before they're ready. And you fussing at them or preaching to them or telling them, how they're wrong is not going to make them ready. What it does is it pushes them deeper into their own beliefs and makes it harder for them to grow up. So it's not only neutral, it just makes everything worse for everybody.
Yeah, because you're keeping them stuck by believing that they're not growing.
Yeah, and if you feel frustrated, well, I keep trying to tell him, and I tell him the stuff that's obvious, but for some reason he just can't see it. So then you're getting frustrated, and as you get frustrated, you start getting angry, and you start getting upset, and it's just, that's what we do, and it's just wrong. It comes from that capital I being the one that's always right. And we just need to let that go and let people grow up however they grow up. And if they're going to grow up stupid, well, that's their choice. Let them be stupid. And hope that they feel the same way about you. They'll just let you be stupid. And the two of you then maybe could have a nice evening chatting with each other if you didn't have to fix each other.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, well. Holiday times are interesting because we are more social in the holiday times, and we're pushed into social arrangements, whether we want to or not. Left on our own, we'd stay home and watch TV. But now you have to get out and you go connect and you see people, and this is a social time. And that's challenging to people, because if everybody is self-centered, then it's just always, there's a lot of issues and a lot of negativity. And then people group up in cliques. All the people who are self-centered in sort of the same way or have similar beliefs, they form a little clique. And in their little clique, they look around and say how bad everybody else is in other cliques. And, that is just, again, not helpful. That's just part of the problem. So make your social events this year truly giving, connecting with people of all sorts, and let them just be however they are without judgment. It's not yours to judge. And if you're lucky, they won't be judging you.
Yeah.
But if they do judge you, let that go. That's them. You can't help what they do. If they're going to judge you and whatever, then let it be. That's them, not you. So everybody should have a happy holiday. And the way you do that is by connecting with people. Because if you try to get through your holiday without connecting to people, with kind of staying in your own little hidey hole, you'll start to feel miserable. You'll start to feel empty. You will not have a happy time. So staying home and just being with your little clique is not the solution. You have to get out and make connections and share yourself with others and let them share themselves with you, and do it non-judgmentally and do it positively. And then you'll feel happy. You'll feel good. And if you're able to do this, even just a little bit, you'll feel good that you're growing up. You're making better choices. So turn the holidays into a growing time. That's one of the things that they're best at, is helping you grow up. Because it's interaction with others is how you grow up, through that interaction. You can go sit in a hole by yourself for years and years and years and be convinced that you're perfect. But until you really interact with other people, that perfection is all smoke and mirrors. It's not really true. Your perfection only shows when you exhibit kindness and caring and love for other people, no matter who they are, and no matter what they think. You can understand them. You can appreciate them as people, wherever they happen to be on their path. That's grown up. So, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year out there to everybody, and may your holiday be full of people. And if it's not, make it full of people. That's where the learning is, and that's where the pleasure is too. And if you stay positive, there's a real high probability that you'll find that pleasure in being with those people. If you let yourself get negative, then you'll come away with a bad feeling. You'll come away unhappy. So it's all up to you.
There you go. Well, this may seem like a short show for us, but unfortunately, we had some problems in the beginning. Anyway, I think we said the message that is definitely relevant, and it is a good message, short or long, just to be positive and enjoy yourself. And I wish everyone a happy holiday. And yeah, I guess right before the new year, we'll have a new message on, well, we always like to do the New Year's message, so we'll do that. All right.
Okay. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Laurie.